If any game had to be $100 Canadian or $80 USD, I would not say to Xbox, to Obsidian, or to Microsoft that it should be The Outer Worlds 2. In fact, I think this is one of the stupidest decisions that Xbox as a company has ever made. And I'm really being serious here, because out of every single title that you are producing right now, whether it's Gears of War E-Day, whether it's the next Fable game, the next Forza, the next Halo game, you decide to start off your $80 games with The Outer Worlds 2, a game that is clearly not on the same level or scope as the other games that I've mentioned, and it is clearly just an attempt to see how people are going to be able to consume the product and how people are going to be okay with this new pricing. Avowed was a solid game. I was disappointed with it, but it was a solid game. It's not great, it's not terrible, it's in the middle. It was a solid 7 or 6 out of 10. The problem that a lot of people had was the pricing. Pricing a game that is averaged around 15-20 hours, that isn't as open worldy as people come to expect, and charging $70 or upwards of near $100 with tax Canadian for the game really put people off, and why a lot of people played it through Game Pass. Now the problem is that you are now having Obsidian again create another game that is definitely not going to be as big as all of your other Xbox Game Studios titles because they're producing them so quickly, and you yet decide to charge the premium price, the same price that GTA 6 is definitely going to be launching at now. Like, definitely. If Xbox and Nintendo's doing it, you bet your ass Take-Two Interactive is going to do it with Grand Theft Auto 6. And if they don't, if by some divine miracle that Take-Two Interactive is like, you know what, no, we're not going to screw over our consumers today. You know what, everyone was expecting the game to be $70 a year ago, we're going to stick to that. You know what, it just makes your company look even worse overall. Xbox Game Pass does not give Microsoft, Xbox, or anybody at that company the right to overcharge on their own platform and on separate platforms. It does not give you the right to charge and overcharge on Steam, which you're clearly competing with here. You want to overcharge your games on Steam to have people come over to Xbox Game Pass. It makes sense, right? You want a bigger PC market share. The problem, people on Steam are completely, and I would 100% say this as someone who mainly uses Steam, people like us are very stubborn, and instead of actually just moving over to the other PC launcher that we don't want to use because now you're going to be forcing us to use it if we don't want to pay upwards of $100 Canadian for it, we would rather just not play the game. I'm still going to play The Outer Worlds 2, and I'm going to be honest here, and I'm going to be playing it through Xbox Game Pass because I already have a current subscription. But for the people who don't want to subscribe to Game Pass on PC, for the people who would rather just own the games, people who would rather just buy the games, whether it's on Battle.net, whether it's on Epic, whether it's on literally any other storefront, GOG, Steam, even the Xbox PC store, you have that option. Xbox is now saying, hey look, you can either join Xbox Game Pass, $10, $12 a month in Canadian dollars, US dollars, or you can pay upwards of 100 Canadian for a video game. A game that is clearly not even on the same scope as several of our other titles that we're releasing this year or next year. A game that is clearly not worth that price. A game that, we have just artificially increased the price because Nintendo was doing it. It makes no sense. They are now just, for no reason at all, again, artificially increasing the price. Nintendo did it because, look, we have new hardware. Xbox is doing it just because, screw you, give me money. That is exactly why they are doing it, and it is blatant. And yes, it makes sense on the business perspective from Xbox. They want to move people to Game Pass, but it does not give them the right to absolutely screw Steam, Battle.net, PlayStation, and PC users, and even Xbox console users who don't want to use Game Pass and would rather just purchase their titles out of a price gouging war that they're creating with themselves. And this is a problem, and this is something I'm going to be talking about in a future video as well. Game Pass is a fantastic service, an absolutely amazing deal for people who do not have a lot of money to play video games. It really is. But yet, they keep making it worse for everyone who doesn't want to use the service. And for a company as well as Microsoft and Xbox that has been really pushing, everyone can play wherever they want, we don't care, just give us your money. For a company that has really been pushing that ideology, they have massively screwed up here. Because now we have to come to expect this shitty pricing point on all your future AAA titles. We literally have titles that are a fifth of the price of what you're going to be charging The Outer Worlds 2 at, that offer more content, that offer more quality, that are just so much better. And these are coming from indie developers. These are coming from even bigger studios as well. Expedition 33, coming from a studio that was literally made up of former Ubisoft developers, was $50, was about 70 Canadian, and had so much more quality put into it than literally so many other RPGs in the last few years, okay? It was cheaper than its competitors and so much better. And I'm still playing it, and it is such an amazing game. This video is in a call to action for Microsoft to not be such a shitty company and ruin literally everything that they touch. You buy up dozens and dozens of game publishers and studios, and yet now that they have this amalgamation of game studios, they decide, hey look, Nintendo is screwing over their customers. Their customers are still buying the games, still buying the consoles, which is a completely different subject for a completely different video, because Nintendo consumers are literally brain dead, especially the ones that complain about the pricing and then still buy it anyway. Those are just the real brain dead consumers. But then you also have Xbox looking at it like, look, our consumers must be brain dead as well, because we have Xbox Game Pass as a service. That means that we're able to charge whatever you want when people actually just want to buy the title, instead of offering what we've been offering for the past several years, what people have expected out of The Outer Worlds 2 to charge $70, because Avowed was $70, and people are like, okay, maybe they'll even lower it because they see some feedback. I imagine that in this scenario, Xbox is doing this, and I imagine heavily that Avowed must have sold well for them to attempt this again, and if it didn't, they're screwing themselves even further. They are literally shooting one of their best studios in the foot with these pricing points. Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 should quite literally be max charged at $60. Those are the prices of those games. You're gonna tell me that a game that they remade, that they rebooted within like 3 years, which was Avowed, is worth $70. You're gonna tell me a game, The Outer Worlds 2, that is quite literally, and I'm excited for it still, but quite literally looks like the first game with just added mechanics on into it and just better graphics, is worth $80, is worth that much of a premium price point, is worth up to the same standard as Grand Theft Auto 6, a game that is literally going to change the industry. You are telling me that your game, The Outer Worlds 2, is going to be on that same level. Microsoft has truly lost the plot point with their entire gaming industry standpoint. Yes, they have great ideas. I like the new ROG Xbox Ally. I like the way that they're pushing multi-platform releases, but their Game Pass service has quite literally been such a double-edged sword in this scenario. Yes, you want to push Game Pass on PC users, and their PC growth has been insane, and you know what? I'm happy for that, because that means more value to us when they keep purchasing more deals through Game Pass to actually have on the service. And I'm also a big supporter of rental services like Xbox Game Pass, like PS Plus, that offer up a monthly charge for tons and tons of games, especially for new people in the gaming industry that just want to try a shit ton of games all at once, or people who maybe can't afford several big AAA games every year, right? Like, hey, look, you pay $180 a year, realistically, for the subscription, you get all our first-party titles, a bunch of third-party titles, titles that cycle in and out. It's still a fantastic deal. It's still a fantastic business proposition. The problem is that the people who don't subscribe to Game Pass are getting screwed, because every single year, it seems now, their games are getting more and more expensive. You cannot tell me that Avowed would not have been a better critical and commercial success if it was literally just a bit cheaper. $50, it would have been so much better. I bet they'd be shouting sales numbers and player numbers from the roof. It would have critical acclaim. $70, they're out of their minds. And even charging the gall to charge $130 for a premium damn edition of The Outer Worlds 2 that gives you 5 days early access. 130 Canadian dollars. You are out of your mind. You want us to pay almost two games and several indie titles of what game pricing used to be literally 5 years ago. You want us to pay 2 times over and then a little bit more on top to have early access and a few skins. They have lost the plot entirely, and it is so funny to see a company that has had such success over the last several years with their game showcases, with everything that they have, and yet they're screwing themselves on the pricing. And I'm fully expecting that Game Pass is also going to get a higher subscription price standpoint, but that does not give them the right to completely screw the people who do not want to subscribe to their service just in the ass. It doesn't give them the right. And people who defend it, honestly, you deserve what Microsoft is doing to you. You deserve the higher price points, you deserve the lower quality, you deserve everything that's coming to you when it comes from Microsoft and Xbox Game Pass's problems in the industry. Even though it's a fantastic service, it still offers a lot of problems.